Ever felt like you're the only one being real in a room full of mass? You speak with honesty, show up with genuine care, but you're met with polite smiles and carefully filtered replies. It's like playing a game where everyone else knows the script, and you're the only one ad-libbing. Something feels off. Maybe it's the way they avoid eye contact when things get real, or how their energy shifts depending on who's watching. You want to believe the best, but a quiet voice inside wonders, are they being genuine or just performing? That subtle discomfort isn't paranoia. It's your intuition recognizing something isn't right. Inauthentic people don't usually betray you in obvious ways. It shows in the small things. Broken promises, shallow concern, kindness that feels transactional. Over time, their act starts to crumble. The truth doesn't shout, it whispers. So how do you protect your peace in a world where image often outweighs sincerity? In this video, we'll explore 7 clear signs that someone isn't being real with you. These aren't just red flags. They're tools to help you navigate relationships with clarity and strength. And here's a challenge. As we go through these signs, don't just ask, who's done this to me? Ask, what have I been tolerating? Clarity isn't always comfortable, but it's powerful. And once you start seeing clearly, you stop settling. Let's begin. Sign 1, they're never there when you need them. Let's not sugarcoat this. Some people are allergic to your struggle. They're all smiles when the sun's out, but the second your skies go gray, they vanish like smoke. If you've ever counted on someone during your darkest hours and got silence in return, you already know what fake feels like. That isn't friendship. That's a transaction in disguise. You pour your time, your loyalty, and your energy into people, thinking it's mutual. But when life punches you in the gut and you reach out, what do you get? Voicemail. Sorry, been swamped. Suddenly your pain doesn't fit into their schedule. Spoiler alert, it never did. I learned this lesson the hard way. There was a friend I'd drop everything for. She was the type who always needed saving, and I showed up every single time. But the moment I hit a low point, drained from work, emotionally burned out, I reached out and got nothing. Just a promise to call back that never came. Weeks passed, I was invisible, but when she needed a favor, my phone lit up like Christmas. That's when it hit me. I wasn't a friend to her, I was a service. It happened again during a rough financial stretch. I didn't ask for much, just a small loan I knew she could easily afford. I expected some understanding. What I got instead? Excuses on loop. Tight month, she said, right before she posted new vacation pics online. Let that sink in. People like that will drain you dry while smiling in your face. They'll string together polite excuses like pearls, hoping you're too polite to call them out. But a real friend doesn't go ghost when you're bleeding. A real friend doesn't dodge your calls when all you need is someone to sit with your silence. Here's what Stoicism drilled into my spine. Don't expect others to save you. Expect them to reveal themselves. People show up for the roles they want to play. When it's your turn to be in need, that's when the mask slips. Don't take it personally. Take it as data. And don't fall into the trap of begging for basic decency. You shouldn't have to chase someone just to be heard. Distance isn't bitterness, it's wisdom. Keep your energy out of reach from people who only appear when it benefits them. Now let's visualize this clearly. Imagine you're stuck on the side of a highway late at night. You call 5 people. Only one picks up. That one? That's your tribe. The others? Don't hate them. Just stop pretending they're your lifeline. The truth is, you don't need an army. You need 1 or 2 who show up when there's nothing to gain. And when you find that kind of loyalty, protect it. But for everyone else, let them fade. Not with anger, not with drama, just with clarity. Remember this, fake friends don't break you. They just make you sharper, stronger. Stoicism isn't about becoming numb. It's about being unshakable. Trust less, observe more, and never forget, real ones don't need a reason to show up. Sign 2, they never reach out to you first. Let's be brutally honest. If someone never reaches out first, it means they're comfortable with your absence. You're not a priority. You're a placeholder for convenience. Some people will keep you around just close enough to use, but far enough to never truly care. We often lie to ourselves. We tell ourselves they're just busy or not great at communication. But if you disappeared tomorrow and they wouldn't notice for weeks, you already know where you stand. That's not love, that's neglect dressed in politeness. And yet we keep initiating. We keep sending messages, checking in, making plans, thinking if we stop, the whole relationship will collapse. And sometimes it does. That collapse is the truth finally standing on its own. I once had a friend who I genuinely believed was part of my core circle. I constantly made the effort. Coffee invites, check-ins, birthday messages, the whole thing. Then I got curious. I went silent. No texts, no calls, nothing. And guess what? Weeks passed in complete silence. That was my answer. At first, I felt like I'd lost something, but over time, I realized I'd gained clarity. As Epictetus said, if someone does not value you, do not be angry. Instead, accept that they are showing you who they are. That silence became a lesson in detachment. Here's an example that says it all. Imagine someone invites you to dinner every week, always checking in, always making time. Then one day they stop. Suddenly, no calls, no invites. A month goes by, nothing. You don't wonder where they went. You feel relieved. Why? Because deep down, you were never invested, only entertained. Now reverse that. That's how your absence feels to someone who never truly cared. This is where Stoicism sharpens our perception. You don't need to get angry or confront them. You simply remove your effort and watch the reality unfold. People who care won't wait for you to keep the bond alive. They'll reach back because they want to, not because you asked them to. Ask yourself, if you stop messaging today, would they notice? Would they care? Or would they enjoy the silence? That answer is your freedom. You don't have to cling to relationships where you're the only one showing up. People who never initiate contact are revealing something deeper. They either lack emotional depth or they were never truly invested in the first place. You don't need 100 friends. You need a few real ones who know how to reach out without being prompted. Let's be clear, this isn't about punishing people or playing games. It's about protecting your energy. When you're constantly initiating, you're emotionally overextending yourself. You're draining your spirit trying to keep someone else's indifference alive. A real relationship doesn't require one person doing all the heavy lifting. True connection is balanced, mutual effort, mutual care. If someone only replies but never reaches out, they're not maintaining the friendship. They're just responding to your maintenance of it. We must be brave enough to stop pouring into cups that never refill ours. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is silence, because silence invites truth, and truth is what Stoics value above all else. Choose wisely. Give your presence to those who feel your absence. Everyone else, let them drift, not out of bitterness, but because your peace matters more than their convenience. Sign 3, they only care when the spotlight's on them. You ever walk away from a conversation feeling strangely empty, as if you were just drained without ever really speaking? That's what it feels like to deal with someone who only focuses on themselves. Their presence is loud, but their attention is nowhere near you. These people don't converse, they perform. And your role? Background noise. They'll unload their entire day on you, every minor inconvenience, every little win. But when it's your turn to speak, suddenly they're glancing at their phone, changing the subject, or cutting you off mid-sentence with something more important. And make no mistake, this isn't forgetfulness. It's a pattern, a calculated, unconscious habit of making themselves the center of gravity in every room they enter. You orbit them, and they never notice your light fading. I had a former teammate like this. We were working on a group project, and every meeting became his therapy session. How tired he was, how underappreciated, how he had to carry everything. I tried once, just once, to talk about a health scare in my family. His response, "That sucks, I've been stressed too," and off he went about his workload again. That moment burned a hole in the friendship I didn't bother patching. But it's not always that obvious. Sometimes they hide it behind fake concern. They'll say, "Oh, how are you?" But their eyes are already scanning for a cue to talk about themselves. And when you finally open up, They hijack the moment and make it about their parallel experience, usually more dramatic. You were never heard. You were only a trigger for their next monologue. True emotional connection requires vulnerability from both sides. These people are allergic to it. They crave attention, not depth, validation, not exchange. And if you dare to interrupt their flow with your own needs, they subtly punish you with silence, withdrawal, or worse, dismissive advice that makes your problem sound like a personal failure. Picture this. You're standing in a two-way street trying to build a bridge. But every brick you lay, they steal to build a pedestal for themselves. You speak, they redirect. You hurt, they one-up your pain. You celebrate, they compete. It's exhausting. And it's not a friendship, it's emotional theft. And here's what really stings. They never notice, because their empathy ends where their ego begins. When you eventually pull away, they might accuse you of being distant, cold, or unsupportive. But the truth is, you were just tired of clapping for someone who never looked in your direction. Stoicism reminds us, don't expect figs from a thorn bush. Don't expect empathy from someone who's obsessed with hearing their own voice. Your job isn't to fix them or wait until they finally ask how you feel. Your job is to protect your peace from people who see your silence as space for their noise. You don't need to argue, confront, or educate. Just disengage. Choose your energy battles like a warrior. Strategically and with intention, your story deserves to be heard by people who don't need a spotlight to listen. And here's the Stoic twist. Don't take their self-centeredness as an attack on your worth. It's just a mirror reflecting their emotional immaturity. You're not boring. You're not too much. You were simply speaking to someone who didn't have the capacity or the interest to hear you. Walk away not bitter, but better. Let silence replace performance. Let depth replace noise. And let sincerity be the currency of your inner circle. Sign 4. They forget your words because they were never listening. You ever speak from the heart and watch your words vanish into thin air? You explain something important, your goals, your struggles, even just a moment you're proud of. And the next time you see them, it's like it never happened. That blank stare, that forced smile, that awkward, "Oh, right, I forgot you mentioned that." Yeah, that's not forgetfulness. That's disrespect. This isn't about memory loss. It's about value. People don't forget what they consider important. They remember what matters to them. So when they forget you, what they're really saying is, you weren't worth holding on to. Let that sting. Let it hit. Because maybe you've spent too much time making excuses for people who don't even remember the things that made your voice tremble or your eyes light up. If someone can recall their lunch order from 3 weeks ago but can't remember your dreams from yesterday, it's not an accident. It's a mirror. I had a guy in my circle like that. Every conversation was a reset button. I'd share something real, a project I was risking everything for, something that kept me up at night, and he'd nod like he was present. The next week, "Wait, you're working on something?" I stopped talking. Not because I was bitter, because I was done investing in someone who treated my words like background noise. You think people like that are harmless because they smile and nod and pretend to care? But here's the damage. They teach you to doubt your voice, to shrink it, to silence it. And that's when you start playing small in conversations, in relationships, in life. Want to test someone's sincerity? Tell them something that matters to you. Then wait. Do they remember next time you speak? Do they ask follow-up questions? If not, stop giving them chapters of your story when they won't even remember the title. Let me give you the contrast. I once told a new friend in passing, literally just a sentence, that I was thinking of visiting my father's hometown for the first time. A month later, she messaged me. "Did you ever make that trip? How did it feel being there?" That message hit harder than any gift. Why? Because she remembered something she had no obligation to. That's what real connection feels like. They carry your words with them. Stoicism isn't about being numb. It's about being deliberate. You don't have to rage when people forget you. You just have to stop giving them access to your depth. If someone can't hold space for your truth, they don't deserve a seat at your table. And let's be clear, you don't need a crowd. You need clarity. People who remember because they care. People who don't just hear you, but see you. Forget being remembered by the wrong people. Focus on building bonds with the ones who show they care, not just say they do. If they can't hold your words, they can't hold your worth. Sign 5, they always want something from you. There's a type of person who doesn't knock on your door unless they know there's something behind it they can take. They're friendly, but only when your life is convenient to theirs. They don't see you as a friend. To them, you're a service, a source, a shortcut. They're not interested in who you are. They're interested in what you can give. Your time, your skills, your network, your kindness. And when they're done taking, they disappear like they were never there. It starts small, a quick favor, a rushed request. Hey, could you help me with this one thing? You oblige because you're kind, because you believe in showing up for people. But kindness without boundaries attracts opportunists like light draws moths. And they don't stop at one favor. They make a habit of it. I once knew someone who never asked how I was doing unless it led directly into a request. How's your week been? By the way, could you? That by the way always carried weight. Over time, I realized those check-ins weren't genuine. They were setups. One day I decided not to respond right away. No harm, just space. Their warmth cooled fast, messages dried up. Suddenly, I wasn't needed, and the connection faded. Not because of conflict, but because the transaction ended. They don't care about the conversation unless it benefits them. Share your dreams and they'll yawn. Share your talents and they'll plot how to use them. When you're no longer useful, you become invisible. It's like offering someone your umbrella in the rain and then watching them walk away with it, leaving you standing in the storm you helped them avoid. Here's the test. Stop giving. See what remains. True relationships are not built on transactions. They're built on mutual respect, presence, and care. If someone's only warm when they want something, they're not sincere. They're strategic. As Stoics, we don't seek revenge or build walls of bitterness. We observe, we understand, and we step back, not out of hate, but out of clarity. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's intelligent. So the next time someone keeps knocking only when they need something, ask yourself, would they still come around if I had nothing to offer? If the answer is no, then you already know. Some people are loyal only to their needs, not to you. Sign 6. They talk behind your back. They'll smile in your face and spit your name out in rooms you're not in. The ones who gossip about you rarely do it out loud. They whisper in shadows, sugarcoat their criticism with fake concern, and dress envy as advice. It's betrayal wrapped in politeness, and that's what stings the most. You may never hear the exact words they used, but you'll feel it. The shift in energy, the silence where there was once ease, the way someone else looks at you differently, guarded, skeptical, unsure. Suddenly you're solving a puzzle you never agreed to play. I once knew someone who made it a point to praise my work in public, but always with a sly twist. He's really talented, but sometimes he overdoes it. Harmless at first until I heard it repeated, almost word for word, from 3 different people. That's when it hit me. The applause was just camouflage. They don't need to shout to do damage. Sometimes it's one raised eyebrow at the right moment, a sarcastic laugh, a vague, well, I heard, dropped into the middle of a casual chat. It's not always obvious, but it's always intentional. You might want to call them out, demand honesty, seek justice, but often they'll deny it, twist the truth, accuse you of being paranoid. The Stoic path isn't silence, but it is self-control. You don't need to defend your character to those committed to misunderstanding you. Gossip is cheap currency. It's spent by those who can't afford to shine on their own. So they cut others down, hoping the dust will make them look taller. In ancient Rome, Epictetus warned not to concern ourselves with the noise of idle minds. He understood that what's said in private reflects more on the speaker than the subject. And if your peace is shaken by every whisper, you're giving them rent-free space in your mind. Here's a modern truth. If they can't celebrate your success in public, they don't deserve your trust in private. Words spoken behind your back often say more about their fears than your flaws. I've learned this. If someone is too quick to share other secrets with you, they're likely just as quick to share yours with someone else. So what do? You don't chase them down. You don't shrink yourself to stay likable. You rise, you stay focused. You let their noise echo behind you while you walk forward with clarity. Let your actions be louder than their gossip. Let your consistency kill their speculation. And above all, let your peace be untouched. Sign 7. They act differently with different people. Have you ever seen someone shift personalities depending on who's in the room? Kind and humble around you, but arrogant or cold around others? It's not adaptability, it's a warning sign. People who are inconsistent in how they treat others often reveal more about their true character than they realize. One moment, they're warm and generous, the next dismissive and mocking, especially when they think the right audience is watching. This isn't just a personality quirk, it's a reflection of manipulation. They tailor their behavior to serve whatever image benefits them most in the moment. They may flatter you in private, but ignore or embarrass you in public. With one group, they're supportive. With another, they're critical, often of the same people they praised a moment before. A friend once told me about her colleague, Jenna, who was always kind and encouraging during one-on-one chats. She praised her work, offered tips, even shared coffee. But during team meetings, Jenna transformed, discrediting ideas, taking credit for shared tasks, and aligning with whomever had the most influence in the room. It wasn't just disappointing, it was a calculated shift to climb higher while stepping on others. When someone wears different masks depending on who's watching, it's hard to trust any of them. Stoicism reminds us to observe actions, not just words. If someone's behavior changes depending on their audience, then their loyalty likely changes too. You may be tempted to confront or fix this, to ask them who they really are. But often, their inconsistency is the answer. The person who changes to impress others isn't anchored in values. They're chasing validation. Instead of confronting, simply note it. Let their behavior inform your boundaries. You don't need to label them an enemy or stir drama, but you do need to protect your energy. Imagine someone who's kind to you in person, but cold about you when your name comes up in another room. Do they genuinely value you, or do they only maintain the relationship when it serves their image? Don't chase consistency from those who lack it within themselves. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Let their fickleness remind you to be steady, honest, and whole. Eventually, patterns emerge. Those who shift to please the crowd often reveal themselves under pressure. And when they do, you won't be surprised. You'll already have taken a step back, built your peace, and surrounded yourself with people who are the same in every room. So, what did you see? Did any of these signs hit close to home? The truth is, not everyone in your life is meant to stay. Recognizing insincerity isn't about becoming cold or guarded. It's about becoming wise. It's about valuing your energy and refusing to pour into people who only take, manipulate, or wear masks. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our reactions, our boundaries, our peace. You don't have to confront or expose anyone. Just see clearly and step back. Surround yourself with people who speak with intention, listen with care, and show up with consistency. That's how you protect your peace and grow stronger. Thanks for watching. If this helped you gain clarity, give it a like and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, authenticity isn't just something you seek from others. It starts with you. Stay grounded, stay true,